Hey, what's up, guys? It's Peter Henry here from Reza alongside.
Adam Amsterdam.
And
James Wilson, what's going on?
yeah, we're super excited today. Today, we have a special treat for you. We are going to be talking about the simple steps to build rapport. Say that 6 times fast, right?
Six simple steps to build rapport. 6 simple steps to build rapport.
All right, I got it. My tongue is tied. So, a lot of times, we're going to jump right into it. A lot of times, sales professionals and real estate agents have a real hard time because they're essentially repelling their clients by what they're saying. If you don't know what repel is, think about mosquitoes. You put repellent on, you're making them go away pretty much. And this is because you're talking them out of meeting you, right? You either talk them out of meeting you for buying it, you sound too needy. Remember, like, maybe money is an issue.
Yeah.
As a real estate agent, sometimes, you go months without closing a deal. And so sometimes you're desperate, right, to make some more money. And that comes off in your first, in your calls. Maybe you're not organized. Maybe you just got an online client and unfortunately you're not organized there. So that's going to come off too, and your clients are going to know that. But you seem like you don't know what you're saying, you're talking too much, and you're not gaining their respect or connecting with them. And this is why your clients are leaving you. This is why maybe you had that call with that client, and you're like, oh, it went really well. And your client was super nice to you, and then they never called you back. Or you met them at the showing, and then they never, wanted to work with you
What do you
again.
think, the main reason is most of the time for that? Is it the way you talk to them, or what was, the main factor usually?
I think
that
it's
you need to
two
repel?
things, and we're going to get into that, but I think there's two factors for that. If we go to the next slide, or I think we're going to talk about that, is remember, it's really hard to get better, right? And I'm going to tell you why it's hard for you guys to get better. It's because you guys don't know what you're doing wrong, because your clients aren't there. They don't care about you, honestly. They just want to go buy a house or go buy that product that you're offering, but they don't care about you, and they're not there to give you feedback, right? They don't want to get, are they your sales coach? They're not there to give you your sales feedback. And so unfortunately, you think you never know why that client never called you back, and that's because they are not there. They're just trying to get away from you, get off the phone or get out of that showing and go find someone else that's going to take care of that deal for them, so they don't care about you. And that's the sad thing, because you'll never know what you're doing wrong. But fortunately for you, if we go to the next slide, there are 6 simple steps that you could have used to, increase your odds at building rapport and closing more deals, right? We're going to go through all of these 6 steps, but pretty quick, we're going to sum it up. You need to match your clients vocally. You need to match their vibe. You need to break the pattern. You need to focus on them, repeat and rephrase, and use feedback loops to bring them back in if you go on a rant like we're doing right now.
Yeah.
So, like I said, that's what we're going to be doing right now. So let's go on to the next slide and start getting deeper into these 6 steps. Awesome. So matching vocally. What does this mean? For example, let's say you get on the phone with that client and they're super, super, low key, and they talk really slow, and they kind of sound mousy, and they don't really do much. You need to kind of match them, because imagine you coming on the phone with huge energy, like, hey, what, and they're put off by that. They're afraid.
Yeah.
So you need to really understand who you're talking to and be a chameleon. That means, chameleons change color. You need to change your voice. You need to match them vocally, because you might put them off. If the guy comes on and he's super energetic, you need to match him being super energetic, not having that monotone. So it's being versatile as a real estate agent or as a sales professional. You need to be able to match them vocally. This is both on the phone and in person.
So this is you're mirroring them to basically gain their trust and show that you're someone that kind of is like them.
Yeah.
To make them want to meet with you. And
that's exactly what it is. To make them feel comfortable with you. Because remember, we want to connect with them, and we want to gain their trust, right? So we need to gain their trust. Well, actually, we want to make them respect us and connect with them. And by that, we gain their trust, and then they become loyal clients.
Respect is almost like you're going to be able to do the job well. You're going to show up at the property with information.
They feel comfortable with you.
Gotcha.
And a small, soft, mousy voice person is not going to feel comfortable with a huge, lion of a voice, and vice versa. Let's say you get that client from New York. New Yorkers are a little bit more brash. We get a lot of them down here in Miami.
Yeah.
They're kind of to the point and a little bit mean. I'm sorry, New Yorkers, if I'm killing you right now, but you have to be to the point with them, and you need to be able to know how to talk to a New Yorker. Maybe you talk to a California guy or a West Coast guy who's a little bit more chill. You need to know how to talk to those people there, because you don't want to have a clash of personalities. So that's one of the things. You need to match vocally. and we're going to talk about matching the vibe, which goes with matching vocally. So what does matching the vibe mean? It's everything that's not your voice, but it's essentially the same thing. So, for example, you meet that client, and that client is like super chill, like a surfer guy, like super laid back. You kind of need to be like that. You can't be like on the edge, like go, 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 go. But maybe your client's an investor that wants to go, 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 go. You need to do that. Do they use their hand gestures a lot? You should start using hand gestures. Do they shake your hand hard? You better shake them hard. Don't give them the dead fish, right? That's the worst thing. Or if your client gives you a dead fish, you got to give them a dead fish as well. So, like, you need to figure out how to work with that client, match their vibe, match their personality. And, I mean, these are essentially, if you just observe and you have fun and you relax, you'll be able to do all of this. There's no real there's no real science to it. It comes down to, are you able to match them and like think about it and be conscious of what you're doing and conscious of your words and your actions.
Yeah.
So,
and I think right there what you said about being conscious, it's really about listening, right?
Right.
Or watching and like reading what's going on in the current situation, current time.
It's super, that's exactly correct. And for example, like look at James here, like how old are you?
24.
All right, 24, head of recruiting. But he's able to match the vibe when he's recruiting our agents. When he gets a 70-year-old or a 60-year-old or someone that worked in investment banking, he will match that vibe as opposed to like a younger kid coming in. So it's really important to build that trust and match those vibes. So that's all. That's really all that is.
Yeah. It's creating a relationship through same. It's like a personality thing, right? Like people.
Yeah.
Sociology, whatever you call it.
Pretty much.
Anyway.
And then you need to break the pattern. So what does that mean? I kind of talk about this a while, but we always talk about this, right? Your client has spoken with other real estate agents. 20, 30, 100, doesn't matter. They're not loyal. Yeah. And so you'll never learn their loyalty or their business if you don't break the pattern. You need to be different. You need to stand out. So breaking the pattern is standing out. That's why I put 2 periods instead of 1. Did it on purpose to break the pattern with you guys, right?
There you go.
That's a joke because I messed up. But anyways, I just want to say you guys got to break the pattern because there are so many other agents out there and working with online leads, so many other agents that they're working with, and you have to know that they're working with them. The only way to gain their trust really is breaking the pattern and being different and providing value. So forget the exclusive buyer's agreement or whatever that is. Like that doesn't mean anything, honestly. If you gain their trust, if you are different, if you provide something of value to them, they will continue to go with you guys. So forget like all that other stuff about like the buyer's like exclusive rights to I don't even know what
for
it is.
For online leads, it just
doesn't matter. It's ridiculous. Even if you know the person as your friend, if you don't provide the value, why would they buy with you? You need to gain their trust and get out there because there's so much competition out there. Deals are happening every single day. This is one way you're going to get your piece of the pie. And now we're going to talk about focusing on them. You need to make it all about the client. Yeah. We're going to talk about this a little bit more later on. I have an article coming out about this, but it's super, super, super important because, remember, your client does not care about you. They only care about themselves, right? So what does that mean? I actually have let me just find a cool quote that I have here. And it's it's pretty funny. It's a radio station that all your clients listen to, right? It's WIIFM, okay? What is WIIFM? That's what's in it for me. That's all your clients care about, right? So WIIFM, remember that. Your clients only care about themselves. You need to care about your client. You can't have 2 actors playing 2 separate roles or caring about someone else in the scene. In this scene that you're playing, the only person that's important, right, is your client. He is the person you're working with. So stop worrying about yourself. Stop pitching your company. Stop pitching your services. Stop telling them, oh, I have access to all the properties in the MLS and stuff like that. Your client doesn't even know what the MLS is. They don't give a crap about the MLS or your company. It hurts us, but they don't care about Home 61. They don't care about Compass or Remax or Century 21 or Beachfront Realty. They don't care. All they care about is getting a house or buying a product or selling their property, right? So you need to make it all about them. Ask those questions. Focus on your client. And guess what happens? When you focus on somebody and you stop talking, and you keep asking them questions, they feel like they're loved and they feel like they're
Yeah.
valued.
Yeah.
And that's when they're going to want to go with you. So
Yeah.
like that's one huge way to become a leader and build trust. So make sure that you start focusing on your clients, because at the end of the day, they don't care about you. I'm sorry, but they just don't.
It's true.
I mean, that's something like that you talk about all the time. Is like a way to relay that focus on them is
Mhm.
saying what you do and doing what you say, and
Yeah.
just making sure that they know that you're focused on them, and that you're gonna be doing X, Y, Z for them, and you're keeping in contact with them,
Yeah.
keeping that constant contact.
And just by you saying that, I always get the same question from agents like, oh I don't know what to say to my clients, they stop talking to me. Well, just text them and say you haven't stopped working for them, you're thinking about them, do you need any help or ask any questions? That's all you have to do. You just
Yeah.
ask that exact question.
And then
You
let
know,
them
it's-
talk.
Let them know.
You got to let them talk. You got to get into their lives and ask
Mhm.
these provocative questions to let them talk. We'll talk about that at a
Yeah.
different time, like what are good questions to ask and
Yeah.
provoke like a response.
Mhm.
But if you make it all about them and focus on them, you're going to get better responses and start closing these leads.
Yeah. And always remember, if you're forced to use a different number to call your client and they actually pick up that number and they're not picking up your call, your first thing shouldn't be, oh, these people are terrible. It's actually your fault.
It's your fault. And
Yeah,
I
it's
think,
your fault. They don't
I
want to.
think
They
if
don't
we
want to
go-
talk to you.
If we go back to like right here, right? The very first slide, like it's hard to get better because they don't care about you. They're
Yeah.
trying to get off the phone. Like you messed
Yeah.
up and they tried to escape you. So you messed up and it's on you to get better. And so that's why we're kind of going through this right now.
Yep.
Sorry.
Focus on them. There you go.
There we go. So we're on this part, and it's repeat and rephrase, right? It's super important to repeat and rephrase. I had another thing written down here. It's too big for the slide, but there's a hostage negotiator that's pretty famous that wrote a book called Split the Difference. His name's Chris Voss, and he pretty much talks about in hostage situations, the best practice is to create rapport with the people that he's working with the release the hostages by repeating and rephrasing kind of what the hostagee or the perpetrator is saying during the negotiations. It makes the other person feel comfortable and feel like they're understood, right? So your client's saying stuff, you need to repeat and rephrase exactly what it is and clarify so that you guys are on the same page. So that your client feels like they're heard and that they're listened to is super important. And doing this and practicing this will actually help you actively listen
Mhm.
and retain more information from your client. This means stop focusing on anything else but your client when you're on that phone call.
And this actually makes you do less work for your client in the long run because these questions get to the exact point of what they're looking for.
Yep.
That's it. Like
That's
finding
essentially
the
what it
right
is.
property.
Right? Like, I feel like a lot of agents, real estate agents and salespeople in general, and just in life, it's really hard to really focus and be in the moment. But that's a key. You need to be in the moment because there's so many distractions, right? You have your phone, you have your computer here, you're working, you're trying to get your stuff done, and you get a text message, and you're thinking about maybe your kids, and you're thinking about this and that.
Yeah.
And you're not listening to what your client's saying. You just got on the phone with the client, you just received one, your client's talking, and you're thinking about like the 15 other things you need to do the rest of the day. You need to go to Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, you need to pick up the laundry, like you need to go to dry cleaning, you need to pick up your kids from soccer practice. 10 minutes have passed, your client's been talking, and you haven't retained a thing. So this is why it's really important to get rid of all the distractions, really listen to your clients, repeat and rephrase, because it's not only going to make your client feel better, but it's going to help you retain that information and actually work less. So focus more, extreme focus, and then you can worry about the other stuff later. Laundry, kids, school, it will all be there after 5 minutes of your phone call, but how are you going to pay for laundry, kids, school, and all that other stuff if you can't close the deal?
True.
So this is why it's really, really important.
True that.
And last but not least, feedback loops, right? A feedback loop is like if we've been rambling on like we're rambling on today, we really want to talk about it's really, really, really important that you need to understand these 6 steps. You need to match them vocally, match their vibe. You need to make sure that you're actively listening to them and making it all about them, focusing on the client. What I just did right there was a really crude but simple feedback loop that I was doing. So really, really awesome. And I think that you guys need to do it too. After you talk for like 45 seconds on the phone, repeat the main point of that conversation, right? I mean,
and I was just going to add, you can use this at the end of phone conversations, at the end of showings, at just so many different points that you can just put these loops in because it shows that you're listening.
Yep.
Or it allows you to ask the question, did I listen and get everything correct? This is it all. It really shows that you're not just here to make a call and get an appointment. It's really diving in and making the whole thing professional.
It's super, super important. And I mean, you guys all watch, you've seen probably stand-up comedians, but stand-up comedians do feedback loops all the time. They start with like one joke and they build on it, and then the end of the entire skit, they come back to that one joke and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's like you really need to understand feedback loops, because if you could do feedback loops and you could repeat and rephrase, and you do all the other steps, you match them vocally, you match their vibe, you know, you make it all about them, you focus on them, and you do these last two steps, you're going to kill it when you meet them in person and when you're on the phone.
And we're not telling you to match vibe and do all this stuff that'll make you not a professional agent, right? Like, you're trying to match their vibe and everything just to get them to like you, basically, to gain the trust and things like that. It's just need to be professional with what you do. And
I say, like, this kid is really young right here. Like, do you have any examples of how you've used these feedback loops or matching the vibes to help you close, like, you know, those older clients? I know you had some pretty high-profile clients that you got when you first started out, when you just graduated from college. And, like, these guys, I mean, I'm talking about, like, high-level, these are C-level people at big companies down here. So what did you kind of do on those first phone calls? I'm assuming that you use feedback loops and you match their vibe and all that kind of stuff, and maybe you could take us through like what you were thinking and how you were successful on those phone calls.
Yeah, I mean, I would even go further as to say, like, it's not just with those people that are like C-level, but there's a lot of people out there that when they came in, they're just come from different backgrounds, different overall just different personalities. And so when you're on that phone, you kind of get a little bit of their vibe, what they're doing, whether it's that guy from New York that's a chief revenue officer, or it's that guy just coming out of college, just got a brand new job at an engineering firm. Like, those two people right there are polar opposite people. But when you get there, you can find little things that you can kind of connect with, and that's when you keep coming back to that connection, that little connection that you have, and you bring that same kind of energy that they have, whether it's like no, like if it's just straight yes, no, black and white kind of personality, then you just try to stick to where you really feel that they're going and what they feel themselves. And so you just keep coming back to those little points, and from there, that's overall how that connection just keeps being maintained. And takes a lot of practice.
I think what you're talking about too is you're using a lot of what you said right now is more short term. Like, what have you done now that you've met a lot of these clients? I think you've been with us over a year now. What have you done long term to build the rapport and everything and make sure they keep calling you back and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, that's really like a great question. So when it comes down to keeping up and following up with them, I mean, whether it's you want to know what their future kind of mindset is.
Yeah.
So if it's in real estate, you want to know what they're doing next year, so you keep talking about, okay, if they want to know about the market, you let them know about the market. If they're like, hey, I'm getting back from a trip, you try to like, oh, you know what, let's go meet up, let's have some drinks, and we'll just chat, you know.
Yeah.
You just depends on that kind of relationship that you have with them. So if that relationship's very just real estate only, then, you know, you kind of stick to that real estate, and because maybe they're just too busy.
Yeah.
But if they're, you know, just really good people, you guys get along, like you connect on a lot of different levels, then you try to, you know, maybe go out to a bar every once in a while, you know, do little things, you kind of read that relationship and see really what they're looking for. Are they really looking for a whole new friendship, or are they more so, I just want a professional relationship, like of a friend?
And I have another question too. We talked about the two goods, short term, why you're so good, long term, why you're so good. Let's talk about the one client that you built rapport with the husband, but you didn't build rapport with the wife, the people up north. I think it was like a $400,000 or $500,000 sale, and they had 5 months left on their lease, and they bought a property, and you were gonna call them the next month to talk about purchasing. You know, talk about like how maybe a mistake you made there.
So I mean, if we go into that mistake, it's really what I did wrong there is I pretty much didn't have that relationship with the wife as well, and she was the one that kind of took control because she got a new job and it was up there, and so she wanted to look there. However, the issue was that I didn't do my follow-up quick enough. So because of that, the husband just kind of let her take the reins. And so since my follow-up wasn't there, if I would have followed up a little bit earlier, probably a month earlier than what I did, it would have been, hey, you know what, Jane James. I just went out to the bar with James, or I just talked to James.
Yep.
You know, let's set up a meeting with him, and maybe he can take us to a few houses.
Yeah.
You know. So it really is a lot about like making sure that you're on top of your schedule, knowing when those me going 2-3 months without talking to them was probably the biggest issue there.
And I think that's what I was hoping you're gonna say right there is I didn't make the call for almost 2 or 3 months, and that's when it started to fade. So I just want to hit those couple things. I think it kind of hit all levels from good, positive to like where the relationships end.
And all of that I think happened because you weren't focused on them. Possibly you were focused on other things, and if you had focused possibly on breaking the pattern a little bit, standing out from some other people and focusing on that wife and like just asking her and listening to her, because remember she wears the pants in the family. She's making the decision.
And I would even take it a step further that it was when we were talking, I didn't listen fully on them and like actually do that full focus listening. Rather maybe just instead of hearing them, I didn't truly
You
listen.
were hearing I got the rental clothes, we're buying next year, so I'm gonna just kind of
throughout the entire process,
and
I kind of overestimated instead
Yeah.
of like actually like, okay, this is what's happening, this is when it's gonna happen, like I need to make sure that I'm reaching out.
So that's why it's super important, because if you had probably listened and focused on them and really actively listen, break that pattern, match their vibe, match them vocally, and now you're listening and you understand in that first conversation, you're going to close that rental. You know they're going to buy, but now you know, oh, the wife is the one that's in charge here. Now I'm going to listen more to the wife. I'm going to have to figure out how I can make her make the decision and let me guide her. You know, like, that's, I think, where you probably left off, and that's where I think a lot of agents, they struggle, because obviously rentals close quicker, we get paid out quicker, you know, it's stressful, right? Like, you have to hit your quotas, you have to hit that amount of money to grow and to keep building your business and bring in that day-to-day, that month-to-month revenue. However, you're going to miss out on those big tickets, that big 7, 10, 15, 20K deal 3 or 4 months down the line, because if you are trying to do too much at once and you're not stepping back and really focusing and taking that short 5 minutes to just super hyper focus on that situation, then you need to do it.
Where's the part? It's right here. You're just talking about this right here. You're not organized.
You're repelling your clients. You're not organized. You sound too needy. All the stuff we're hitting on here.
It's like you're not even meaning to repel them. It's like this natural repellent because you're not organized. When you're calling them, it's not professional. It's not to the point and trying to grow it to the next step.
And I think that's what a lot of our agents, I know if you don't work for Home 61, you're not familiar with what we do. We have a really awesome algorithm that matches an agent to a client. So our agents constantly get text messages through that algorithm, and it will tell you if it's a rental, it will tell you if it's a sale, it will even tell you how far it is away from you at this moment. So a lot of times agents are desperate for leads, or they just want more leads, right? Everyone wants more leads. Everyone wants to close that big client. They hit Y, they have to respond and hit Y on the text message, so they keep responding to clients that they might be busy. They might be at like their kids' rehearsal for ballet, or they might be at a party, and they're hitting Y. Or they might even respond to a client text that's 30 miles away from them. Because like maybe they're needy, or they're like, oh, I'll take it anyways. But then they get on the phone and they're stumped because they're not ready to go. They're not organized. They're not approaching their business in a mature way, like it actually is a business, like it actually is a brand. Because like real estate, I'm sorry, but not to knock on Uber or Lyft and those kind of things like that, but real estate is not, you're not, as an agent, you're not a Lyft driver, you're not an Uber driver, you're not working for Uber Eats or DoorDash. Great companies and stuff like that. I'm not knocking on that, but honestly, to drive for Uber, all you need to do is make sure your car checks out with them and get a license.
Let's be real.
But
being an Uber driver is a job, right? Lyft driver is a job. Being a real estate agent, it's a career.
It's a career, and it's a brand.
Lifetime.
It's a brand. You're not going to brand yourself as like the best Uber driver in the world, but what you're going to brand yourself as is the top agent, top producer. Maybe get on HGTV if you're great. If that's what your goal is, maybe be the top producer in your area and make millions of dollars. So you need to approach it as such, and that's part of it. Don't be needy. Don't be unorganized. Like, make sure you're listening to them. That's the key thing. Any big time boss in the world does that kind of stuff. So it's super important to do that. We're just checking it out. And then, you know, we just need to do a feedback loop ourselves right now about what we did. So remember, you need to do these 6 steps that we just talked about. And come and follow us, like, comment, and share on all of our social media. Really great. We got these 3 guys out here. Peter's in the middle. Adam's on my left. James is over there looking at both of us on the right. But make sure you follow us. We're the Real Estate Sales Academy here. Subscribe, follow, like, home61experience.com. Home61 Experience on Instagram and Medium. All 3 of us post a lot of articles. Medium.com/@Peter_Henry. Really amazing content that we have here. We try to put out a ton of amazing content for you guys week over week. We have a live stream that is going to be on, I believe it's going to be on the 7-day work week that we're doing. Today's a Tuesday, March 19th. So March 20th, tomorrow, we're doing a live stream at 11 a.m. about the 7-day work week. And so that's what we are going to do. Super excited. So from all of us here at Reza, have a great rest of the day. And that's it.
Have a good one, everybody.
See
See
ya.
ya.